Oh, hello. Welcome to another Office Hours. Capsule. That's right, Capsule. This is a small section of my Office Hours live stream where I kind of snip it out from the live stream to give it to you so y'all can watch it so you don't have to watch a huge live stream. Though I would love to have you join us live at twitch.tv/theastropub, youtube.com/theastropublive, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Remember correctly? Right? Join these wonderful folks here who will tell you that it's pre-recorded because they're mean. And yeah, we'll you know, kind of talk about lore and news and all sorts of things. So for those of you who don't know, I have been watching ISCs live with the Office Hours, with chat, since I've started doing this. It's been part of the things along with my monthly reports and reactions to other things, or more like kind of read-throughs of progress trackers and such. I just haven't put my own reactions to the monthly reports, or not the reports, to the ISCs on YouTube before. So this is an experiment to see if people like this. So if you do enjoy this, make sure you're hitting that like button, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell icon to be notified when these release. I do want to know in the comments below as well if you like this or not, because I'm not a big fan of reaction like content myself. But so I'd like to think of this as a live analysis, which I can get wrong sometimes, and you know, always correct me if I do. But I want to kind of try to do this more often, but you know, just playing around, see what this comes up. So without any further ado, let's look at ISC for, which was released on February 15th, 2024.
At CitizenCon 2952, we introduced the concept of distribution centers, these enormous terrestrial microcosms of Star Citizen's entire FPS experience. And since that time, we've intermittently followed along with their progress as they make their way to the persistent universe in the upcoming Alpha 323. And with that milestone approaching in just the next few months, let's dive underground one more time and see where they're at now, and discuss a little more about what you'll be doing once you get inside.
What are distribution centers?
It's a super basic question, but I've got to unravel about 2 years worth of development time in order to answer it.
So a distribution center is a colossal hub that an organization owns that they distribute goods for, and this could be commodities themselves or stuff that they're making.
They're very big locations on the ground. They're a hive of activity. But you can also go there and cause some chaos as well.
To the player, depending on what faction it is, it's still going to be a means to way of getting different types of missions.
We don't want you to go to this location and be the only person there doing a thing. In some locations, you're going to find that you're just doing a delivery mission, you're hauling some cargo out there, you're dropping it off, and you're getting your fee for doing that. But while that's happening, another player could be infiltrating it, they could be assassinating a VIP in there.
They provide a large variety of gameplay, anything to bombing runs.
This is gonna end in tears, CIG. You're gonna say this player needs to deliver this box to this distribution center, and this other player needs to bomb that distribution center. What? That sounds like a terrible idea. I mean, exciting, but also terrible. This is going to end terribly. Oh, man. Oh, hopefully they have better balance, but yeah. That, on paper, that sounds cool, but knowing this community for 5 minutes, no, I know this is bad. This is really bad. But I wanted to pause as well and kind of mention that these are, like, if you looked back here, I'm going to kind of roll back a little bit, to kind of show you this. So you saw this. Notice how this looks very familiar if you've been following Star Citizen a while. This is something that a lot of players have pointed out, a lot of content creators have pointed out. but I think bears repeating. Originally, these were called the medium UGFs, or underground facilities. The current UGFs we have, which a lot of players call bunkers, are small UGFs, underground facilities. So they've changed the name from UGF to distribution center. And again, these were mediums. They were supposed to be larger ones. So this is kind of an example of CIG has sort of evolved the idea and the gameplay purpose of these facilities as they went forward. So it sounds like these are basically hubs of content going forward.
First-person combat,
That's just
theft, you name it.
A whole quagmire of different things going on at any one time.
Basically a microcosm for all the FPS-related gameplay in the universe.
What's your favorite thing about the distribution centers?
They're nearly done.
You look so tired.
So at CitizenCon, we showed you what is going on at these locations, but you want to know what's actually coming in 3.23, so let me tell you. We're going to have multiple DCs throughout the Stanton system. Each one of those is going to be owned by different brands. Some of them are going to be friendly towards you. Some of them, they're going to be hostile towards you. At each location, you're going to have access to both sides of the building, both wings. On those wings, we have 2 landing pads and a hangar, and 2 cargo freight elevators. Plus you've got the wing itself, so all the missions that you can do outside. On the inside, you'll have access to the lobby and the rooms off that, so sleeping habs, a kitchenette, some VIP spaces, and some maintenance places in there as well, all with missions.
Below that, you're into the main body of it, which has got the central part, which is the warehouse, which is where mainly all the goods go. Branching off of that leads into 2 side roads. From there can be a mixture of rooms. It's always a cargo shop, which is a part delivery space, part canteen for the staff to use for refreshment and taking a break. Storage rooms, which are the main whole of distributing big cargo boxes, which have to be used to be picked up via a tractor beam.
There are worker rest areas, there are security areas, side rooms.
And a side road, which is more like a little maintenance area, but it does have an underfloor, again with the ventilation access. That's on the inside. Branching out from that as well, there are 2 wings. Each one comes equipped with a cargo area, a shipping depot, and security door than the outside.
Hopefully enough content for you to get your teeth into in this kind of initial release.
So it looks like it's fairly packed with stuff. The one concern I do have is a lot of that sounds like passageways rather than content. Like, yeah, you want to build an area that has obvious like security and like entryways and, you know, driving in and out and, you know, kind of give a reason for ground vehicles. But if you're doing any kind of major cargo heist or movement, you're not going to use any ground vehicles that currently exist in game because they wouldn't work. So unless 3.23 is going to have some like big major cargo transport vehicles, a lot of this is going to be you figuring out ways of finagling your ship into an area so that you can pick up and drop off stuff more efficiently. So, it's good, but it's, as they said, it's a starter sort of thing. So,
Can you bring vehicles inside?
To the outside wings, yes, but you can't drive them into the actual center, no.
No.
Did he just say what I think he said? Did he just say that we can't do something in Star Citizen? CIG. Come here. Okay. Come here. They're real close, all right? Do you understand who your fans are? Do you realize what you've just done? You have awoken a sleeping giant that is the Star Citizens community as ability to just screw with all of your plans.
Sound really confident about it. Why can't you take vehicles inside?
Because we block them off.
How'd you block them?
All odds.
Vehicle force field?
All odds.
You're telling me there's no way a player is going to be able to tractor beam a vehicle over those ballers and get a vehicle inside?
I would like to say no.
Backers, you know better. The challenge is made. Get the vehicles in there.
So what will bring players to the distribution centres will depend on the type of player, as we want to give variety depending if you're an aggressive player or a non-aggressive player and or lawful or unlawful. It's for the 4 types of player that exist in the persistent universe. So there's aggressive lawful, unaggressive lawful, aggressive unlawful, and unaggressive unlawful.
Which one are you?
I quite like being aggressive. If you're going to go in, you might as well go in hard, right? I'm nice in real life, so I can be aggressive and unlawful in the verse.
Just killing random dock workers.
For aggressive lawful players, you might get a mission where you have to go in and defend one of the distribution centers from a hostile attack by outlaw gangs.
You could receive a distress call from the owner of the distribution center being informed that a gang is trying to acquire goods from a certain section of it, say the storage room.
The player will arrive. They will make their way to the location which is under attack. They will go in, they will see a battle underway between defending forces and the attackers, and they will join sides with the defending forces to take out the attackers. Those attackers might come in waves, they might have big heavies with them, they might have bigger weaponry.
These are new techniques.
But you will join together, possibly with friends, to take out this big assaulting force. Lawful non-aggressive players might want to do something more like delivery or hauling. It's a distribution center. So you'll be able to come in, land, load your ship with all the various cargo, depending on what kind of distribution center it is, and take it where it needs to go, whether that's another distribution center or somewhere else completely different.
The plan from doing an internal delivery will be using a hover trolley to distribute one cargo or multiple cargo boxes from one section in the distribution center to another. They really are big enough to do an entire mission without ever leaving. You could be doing a delivery from one room, let's say the storage room, up to the lobby.
For an aggressive illegal player, you might do an all-out assault on the distribution center. You can fly in, the location security will kick in, so you'll be trespassing, you'll get shot at by turrets. If you manage to land, you will infiltrate the facility. All guards will be hostile to you, and you can go in, you can, if it's an assassination mission, you can go in, take out a VIP. If it's a theft mission, you can run a heist, go in, rob the place, get out again.
Each distribution center, especially the bigger company ones, would have armed guards at least on site. They'd also have turrets mobilized around the outside, so you would have to, coming in by air is very dangerous because you would be distinctly seen as trespassing, so each security zone around a distribution center protects it, even from the air, not just the ground. So for non-aggressive, unlawful theft missions would be a prime example of you sneaking into distribution center to avoid being detected by security.
Is stealth optional, CIG? Are these stealth missions optional, or do we get spotted and we lose? Because if stealth is optional, then stealth is then non-aggressive, unlawful is just going to be aggressive but with extra steps.
Acquire goods unlawfully.
You can basically do a stealth version of the hostile mission. So instead of it being an all-out assault and going in guns blazing, maybe you find a back route in, maybe you sneak in past guards, make your way to the location without being detected. If you get the item that you need to steal, You can turn around, make your way out, and hope they don't find you.
I'm hearing can,
For
not
players
must.
that don't have a mission, the response that you get when you approach a distribution center is going to depend on which distribution center it is.
So we're in agreement, right, chat, that that there are 3 missions. There's aggressive, lawful, unaggressive, lawful, which is just transport missions, and then aggressive, unlawful. And there's just 2 different versions of aggressive, unlawful, which is going in loud and going in stealthy.
Some are going to welcome visitors. They'll be quite happy to see you. Others definitely don't want any visitors at all.
So depending on the type of facility, some public ones, and you'll be able to come in and just use it as a social space. Other higher security level ones, you would not have or be granted access without being granted a mission. So besides missions, if a player decides to go like full chaotic evil inside a distribution center, they can go in full guns blazing, but they're going to be met with a lot of resistance. So you're going to need to see some pretty, like, a heavily armored.
CIG's a lot of confidence in their security systems this time. There's a lot of confidence.
Ship to deal with the anti-air guns and a lot of firepower when you get inside, because there's a load of guards to deal with.
So a big driving force behind the distribution centers is to really bring players together in all different kinds of ways. So maybe you've got somebody there who's running a delivery mission, and at the same time, you've got a group of people coming in to raid the place and steal a bunch of stuff. They all get caught up together in a whole big mess, and the hope is that it's a fun, exciting, and probably quite chaotic experience.
We want it so that as you're playing it,
I forgot to turn off those for the recording. Sorry. I'm not used to this. Thank you.
through, yeah, other things are happening around you, things that you sort of want to get involved in yourself.
I hope the players perceive it as mainly for the variety, to give the players the choice to to lean into, do they want to be aggressive or do they want to be passive? That we know different players like playing different ways, so we're hoping this variety in the distribution centre gives the players the access whether they want to play that aggressive or passive fantasy inside the verse.
Of course, this is the first drop of the distribution centres, and development will be ongoing. We're shooting for a healthy variety of distribution centres for 3.23, and more to come as we approach 4.0.
So at some point after 3.23 and into the future, I don't know when, we are going to be looking at the end game stuff that you want to play, and that's going to be in the form of raids. Raids! Don't put that in.
Oh, we're definitely leaving that in.
Raid! Shadow Legends.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that distribution centers will be home to missions and gameplay of every sort, that Alpha 3.23 will mark their arrival, that the much-anticipated raid gameplay first discussed at CitizenCon will follow at some point thereafter, and that if you're the ISC gameplay capture team working in builds weeks and sometimes even months before Evocati, you may find that the planets of Pyro and Stanton have loaded into the same physical space and turned themselves inside out, when all you're trying to do is make your weekly show. Don't worry, they're having the time of their lives. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week. Like that.
All right, so I know there's an exit here, but we'll kind of go over this real quickly. And then kind of a nice power intro at the end. So a couple of things we can pull out from that. Number one, CIG is insane. Because I think CIG fundamentally doesn't understand that players that are box mission runners, generally speaking, don't want to stumble into the same place as a raid. You're forcing PvE into a PvP experience, or PvP into a PvE experience, and that's not going to go over well. That's a concern of mine. Hopefully, CIG will experience how bad it is, and then they'll adjust it as need be. What was the other thing they talked about? Pull back a little bit. They have very high confidence in their abilities to for their actual AI to function. Which we'll see with 3.23 if that happens. The problem is even right now it's a dice roll whether you get SEAL Team 6 or Paul Blart Mall Cop. And in chat saying it's a PvP game, always has been. Okay, I'm gonna have to address this as well. Star Citizen is not a PvP game. Get your mad out in the comments below. I don't care. Star Citizen is a PvE game with PvP in it. If Star Citizen was a PvP game, there would be no players, or there'd be no NPCs, it would just be players. It is a PvE game that has PvP in it. As a result, you need to kind of balance the game so that people who want to just enjoy PvE can play the PvE without as much risk. I'm not saying no risk, but not as much risk. Whereas if you wanted, whereas players who are okay with mixing it up can go to those same places. It definitely needs to be, there definitely needs to be kind of a barrier between those two. But, you know, it's that sort of kind of, this sort of thing. So, yeah. So, hopefully they find a good balance between those two, where, like, you know, going to distribution centers that are more prone to being raided or have more prone to have those sorts of experiences versus very highly tightly controlled areas where mostly you're just dropping off pocket packages and picking them up kind of stuff. So, yeah, the last, there's actually two other comments in there which are kind of important to point out. Number one is they mentioned 2.3 and then 4.0, which is an interesting comment because that at least implies, and of course I may be reading too much into this, that CIG doesn't plan on having a 2.4. That they plan on rolling directly into a 4.0. Which sort of tracks with what I've kind of found out on my own. That CIG wants to have 3.23 kind of be that branch is the last branch before 4.0. So we might have a 3.24, but it's just going to be 3.23, you know, extended. And what's the next one? The fact that the gameplay capture team is running into like normal problems with Pyro and Stanton merging. I don't know what branch they play on. They're probably doing the dev branch, but that seems at least to me to indicate that they're actively in the process of trying to bring 4.0 out. It's no longer just we're working on Pyro, work on Pyro. They're now smashing these two systems together and saying, no, Keith. So, like, they've actually building it out the way it's supposed to be in game rather than being Pyro and Stanton individual. So that's probably good. Now let's get this little last palate cleanser and then kind of wrap it up.
Now I've had the time of my life, though I never felt like this before. Yes, I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you, Booch.
That's awesome. I like that. So, yeah. Overall, it's a good ISC. I think the time will tell about the distribution centers. I am glad that it's not just on Microtech, because my initial thought was it was just going to be on Microtech, and that's the only thing we have. They seem to imply that there's going to be more. We don't know how many. So we'll have to see how this works. As for 3.23 and 3.24, we'll kind of have to go it as we go, because CIG has said that they're releasing 3.23. They're shooting for April, which is Q2. Doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to have the only that, or doesn't mean we're going to have more. It's kind of hard to tell what the plan is right now, and hopefully we'll get more information as we go. And as always, I want to hear your thoughts about any of this. And if you like this kind of thing, in the comments down below, it helps me out to know if I should be recording these or not. And yeah, like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.